All right, peeps. Uh, Welcome to Salvation's Guild meeting. Um, I just want to use this time to go over a bunch of different topics with the officers here, Zonok and Metamorphic, and talk about a bunch of different issues that have come up over time, topics, what we're about, how you guys can help, what we can do to have you contribute. So, I'll just go ahead and get started here. We will have some time for Q&A afterwards, so if you do have some questions, feel free to send it in whispers to us or just hold on to it for at the end and we'll say it. If you send the whispers to the officers, we'll keep track of it and we'll be writing them down as we go through the meeting. Okay? So, I'm Rylus. I'm the... Sorry, we have someone that's like typing over. I don't know. Anyways, I'm Rylus. I'm the guild leader. And I made this guild 9.5 years ago, and it's a raiding guild. So we started in 2007, and I formed it uh, to give players a chance at content that they might not have otherwise been a part of. What I mean by that is I was a super scrub nub, and some might say I still am. And I didn't know anything about anything back then. And I had some friends that really helped me out in trying to get me started in raiding and MMORPGs and all that stuff. And I was able to see stuff, raids and everything that I didn't even dream that I could, just because they knew what they were doing. I didn't. They brought me in, and I kind of wanted to extend that to some other people, especially on this server. We know that's a little bit just hard to find people that are exactly at the skill level that you want, and just bring them up to speed and kind of like give them the opportunity to see that content with us too. We're aiming to have more events and more community involvement. With our server connection, it's been a little bit rough as of late, just because uh, we lost a few people a couple months ago, and we're still trying to recover from that. But we still have a bunch of different opportunities for the guildies to interact with each other, not just in raids, but outside of raids, everything like that. And right now, we're focusing on making Salvation a great guild to be in if you enjoy uh, raiding at, I want to say, various levels of difficulty. And it might be a little tough to say that because we are trying to focus on heroic, but every now and then we do go hit up normal or whatever. Um, a competitive yet friendly atmosphere, and friendly being the key word, it's something that we often lose sight of, and we just need to work on that and make sure that it's something that is at the forefront of what we're trying to do. Treat your fellow guildies with respect, whether they are way more skilled than you are, or maybe even the opposite, and they might not have as much skill as you in various things. We're all in this guild together, and we're trying to accomplish something together. So let's just keep that in mind with the things that we say. There are people at the other side of these avatars here. You know, being a part of something that's more than just yourself. Once again, just going about that guild and everything like that. And of course, being amongst the ranks of one of the oldest guilds on the server. There's not many that are older than Salvation. There's a couple, but this has been here, time and time again. With that being said, I want to pass the baton on to Metamorphic, who's going to talk more about uh, just a little bit about the raids recruiting, what the guild is looking for in regards to that. Meta.
What's going on, everybody? My name is Metamorphic, and I'm one of the officers of Salvation, for those who don't know. My job, of course, is to keep recruiting and look for players that want to raid with Salvation and join its mission into, you know, progressing the guild forward into various levels of difficulty besides normal and heroic, but our long-term goal being mythic progression. So recruiting thus far in this expansion during 7.1 and in the beginning of 7.2.5, of Legion, we added new recruits. We also had old-time Salvation Raider veterans, of course, who have returned from their long-term or short-term hiatus. To the recruits that have been here since 7.2.5, thank you for joining us, and we hope that you can be part of our raid progression and continue to be part of our raid progression and move us forward into future patches, future raids to come. To the veterans, welcome back. We look forward to continue business as usual as once before and in the past, and we look forward together to move our guild forward in progression. Currently, we have 13 active players on the roster. That's including the two we added yesterday, and I welcome them. Thank you. So we're about 7 people away from making a 20-man group, which is enough to make a mythic group and push into mythic. But for heroic and normal content, we're ways away from the 30-player mark, which is maximum. So we have a lot of room for growth, and we're looking to fill up with whom and whoever we can in order to reach our goals of being a mythic grade team on the server. There's some slight concerns on my end, as well as should be concerns for you. If not, then that's fine. It's just a concern for me as an officer. As we look to add more players into the fold, the constant search for a healer or two has gotten pretty difficult. I've been spamming trade, and I've been spamming icy veins, and I've been spamming the guild recruitment on the WoW website for healers, because as we get more DPS into the fold, we need more healers to facilitate that, and that has become very difficult. So this could lead to players possibly sitting out, or players switching to an aspect that they're not aren't familiar with or unable to output reputable performance. We would like to search vigorously for a healer or two in order to facilitate more players, and when we do that, we would require after that a nice balance of melee and range to join the fold, or whichever comes first. The more people we have, the better. Beggars can't be choosers at this point. If you have friends or players that you do content with and that need a guild and would like to raid the current content that's here, get them here. If they like to play a certain class we don't need, or we have something too much, it's okay. We can try to facilitate as much as we can. Again, beggars can't be choosers, and we will take whatever we can at this point. So guildies, as yourselves, can help me by spamming chat with our recruitment macro, which I can give you guys in the whispers if you so desire to want to try and help me out whenever I'm not on. And if you're on, and if you want to give it a shot, I can give you that macro. Just hit me up in the whispers, and I'll share with you that at the end of the guild meeting. Um, Another way you can also help is by going to the forums and bumping up our posts. As I said, I have a post on the guild recruitment one, on Icy Veins, and also on the CC SOE Realm forum. Another concern that I have is time. As time goes by in a new patch with a new raid, the request for certain progression increases. For example, we are currently 7 out of 9. We're almost 8 out of 9. Hopefully, then this week we will get to 8. But yet, people who like to reach out to and desire to want, they require 9 out of 9 completed or already people in mythic progression. There are other desires like a healthy server or no graveyard servers, as SOE and CC has slowly become. And combating this is a tough one, as only one possible solution to this is moving off server and joining a much more lively server to make us look better. Discord was a good step in this direction in order to appease players who use a very popular voice communication, unlike Mumble or Vent or TeamSpeak. Uh, but in order to grab more attention, moving off server is something that would have to happen. But being that we've made history here in Cenarian Circle, and we have friends on this server, and guildies wouldn't be so like, yes, let's do it. Let's leave the server. I don't think it's something that we can foresee, and it would cripple Salvation further. Um, but if that is something that people are thinking about. A unanimous consensus amongst everybody has to be reached in order to have this type of conversation. But until then, Salvation and its home is still Cenarian Circle, Sisters of Elune. Casual members, as a message, to the non-raiders that are here with us today that don't wish to raid with us, know that we have other types of ways you can contribute to the guild or be part of our community with some of our fun events. Invite your friends to join Salvation and together have fun with the various festivities and events we hold. Not only do I search for raiders, but we also open our doors to casual players who seek to be part of a community. Those who wish to PvP, RP, dungeon, and quest, pet battle, are always welcome to join us. This helps make the guild feel more alive and more active during any time of the day. So if you have friends that enjoy these types of things I've described, they are more than welcome to join and help increase our community. As they say in most games, it's better to play with friends, and imagine them being in the same guild. Wouldn't that be awesome? Um, so right now, what are we searching for? Uh, right now, we're searching in regards to melee DPS, maybe a arms warrior, a rogue. Um, for range, maybe another maze, a shadow priest, unbalanced druids, a hunter, a warlock. And for healers, around the signs of a resto shaman, a holy priest, and maybe a mistweaver monk. Uh, just so you know, priests and bishops, the ranks of priests and bishops, have the power to add members to the guild. You may interview them on my behalf if I'm unavailable, or if you wish to make sure that the person who is interested has good intentions and is willing to commit to the guild, just as all of you have made. This is perfectly fine. As long as these check marks are met and a follow up with me or another officer, just to let us know that this person was spoken to, and what can we expect from newfound players. So for those who like bishops, who want to look for raiders and I'm not on, this is what you should know, or what you should tell them if you want to be the person finding out what they are all about and whatever. Let them know that this is a 3-day raiding guild. You must make all 3 days consistently. Know the boss mechanics, the current boss mechanics of the patch and whatever, and see if they know some of the knowledge of the heroic and normal fights. If they join, you can refer them to the resources channel in Discord for all the playlists. I have all playlists there, as well as all the class Discord, so they can go in and check it out and see how they can improve uh, their gameplay. Make sure they have a Discord and have a working microphone. It is important that we can communicate and talk and see how we can do better in certain fights we wipe on, or how we can perform much better if things were done a different way. Microphone is very important. Make sure they sign up on the guild website. There's a launch code. You already talked to them. Might as well just give them the launch code and just bypass the process of the app. And make sure they know about our herb collection and its purpose. Meaning, when we collect 100 herbs or mail 100 herbs to Zanuck, it is used to make sure that we have our flasks and potions stocked up, so that way you guys can use them come raid night for free, because we provide everything here for free, including enchants and gems. And he'll explain that later on in this segment. If there's anything else you feel deemed relevant that I have not mentioned, you may add it to the list of basics that I've mentioned. Then the checklist. And again, we need them to be able to commit to the guild and have the guild's best intentions to push us further in the future contents to come. And with that, I will pass the baton to Zana, who will talk about attendance. Take it away, Zana.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hi.
Basically, if you're on the raid invite calendar or if you want to be on the raid calendar, uh, send us a tell. We'll see what we can do. See if we can boost your DPS or item level and all that. But if you're gonna be there, reply to the calendar. It helps us officers look for replacements if you're not going to be there. It just gives us time to plan ahead, and as much notice as possible is always great to have. If you're not able to get on or your internet goes out, I'm sure one of the three of us can give you our contact information. Um, Raid is at 6 p.m. Server time. Uh, if you ever need enchants or gems of the sort, you can always message one of us officers and we'll get them all ready. Make sure your add-ons and everything else is up to date. Know the fights, things that may be common sense. Be there as much as possible. Basically, we need every player there to progress through heroic and eventually mythic. As for loot, it will be given out uh, based on attendance and performance.
Right, yeah, attendant. So, if you're missing the raids, don't complain about loss of loot to other players.
And now I'll pass it to Meta.
Okay. Where was I? Ah, yes, performance. Um, I want to address that we want people to be playing uh, the optimal specs. There are plenty of sims online and websites, even the class discords, that have data that will inform you going into future patches on what's best. We don't want as a hypothetical example. A mage who refuses to play fire when it's doing 100k more damage than frost across the board. Salvation wants players that will do whatever it takes to be optimal. Then again, there are certain specs that people find optimal, but not fun to play. So this draws like a line between happiness for the character you are playing and the burnout of playing a spec that isn't fun. We would like for you to be happy with the class you've chosen and be able to do the most damage, and so that we continue through various content in the future, with whatever is the most optimal spec that you're currently playing with your character. But if another spec that is suboptimal fits your fancy and makes your playing the class worthwhile, then we'll begrudgingly accept it, because again, we rather you be happy than burn out. Once again, there are plenty of websites to find information by your for your class. They talk about best in slot gear choices, stats, etc., like IC Veins, MMO, and the most importantly, like I said, the class discords. Just to name a few, there's How to Priest, Altered Time, True Shot Lodge, the Dream Grove for Druids, just to name a few. So it's important that you check these resources out. They're there for your leisure. It's in the resources channel. I went through a lot to make sure that all of the links work and everything, so that way you guys can, better yourselves as gamers and players and raiders. So be aware and understand that each fight and the talent choices that you have to make, so that way you're optimal on a fight per fight basis. Although this request might be hard, since tomes and the codexes are supposedly expensive, and we can't really drop one every fight. So just make sure when you're coming to a fresh new raid, you're able to choose the talents that will best suit uh, the current raid overall. We also want people to be conscious and develop a environmental awareness of the mechanics on each fight. Some people run into mechanics or forget mechanics and cause damage to themselves and members of their team, and cause more healing to be spent than what is supposedly adequate enough to keep us in the game. Um, this also goes for dispelling and focus healing or focus firing on an ad or a member of your group. There will be times where there will be nothing be said, And it's up to the individual to already know what's going to happen in each phase and what to expect and how to approach it accordingly. No one should have to call out for anything unless something changes in the fight that is unexpected. We all down bosses a certain way, and from my understanding, and hopefully yours, it's a constant thing. Like for example, with Demonic Inquisition, we both hit the boss when they are together at first, and at the Fell Squall we spread, and people, will dot. People with the dot need to, run to the edge of the room away from everybody so they can be dispelled. When they reach the edge, healers have to be on the ready to dispel them when they're out of the group. People need to switch from one boss to the other. The quills need to be moved away from members. Hopefully, people are using movement speeds to counteract this. And people removing their sacks before a certain amount, going in and getting the balls and coming out. If something were to change like this, like the boss being out of position or multiple people going in and they're all at 100%, then callouts and changes in strategy might be discussed in order to keep the fight going and surviving the arrest and the counter. So things will be called out that may be unnecessary, but if things change, in order to keep us going, sometimes we have to do things that maybe people are not used to. For those who don't know, yes, we combat log. And yes, we have multiple people, not just officers, who look at these logs. We know what you're doing wrong. So we know what you're doing wrong. Logs are updated after every raid. The raid house channel in the Discord will be the place where all the logs will be posted after raid is done. Salvation aims for our raiders to at least hit the 50th percentile, which by no means is a difficult feat to reach. If you require assistance reading any of these logs, do not be afraid to ask anyone who might know and is experienced in reading these logs. For myself, I don't know how to read the logs. Maybe it sounds easy, but hopefully, if anyone's here that can explain it to me, that way when I balance or heal, I can check how good I'm doing and where I need to improve. That would be awesome. Lastly, during progression, don't get frustrated. We're all learning this together. And if you die and are asked how, just be honest and don't be ashamed. You must know what you did wrong, but others may not. What? But others may not. So help them be aware of the situations that occur that you've experienced. I don't understand that part. I'm so sorry. Um, so all this information that we're giving you will help inform you guys on becoming better players and raiders. Ryla, Zonak, and myself will look forward to helping anyone who has questions or concerns in regards to what we've discussed so far now and into the future. And with that, I will pass it back to Zonak, who will discuss the Guild Bank in all its glory.
Thank you, Meta. First off, we want to say a big thank you to all of our contributors. Sorry, I'm getting a whisper. We do consume a large amount of herbs and bloods, definitely bloods, to get the raiders up and geared up and all. So donations always welcome. As for the large amount of gold that's in the guild bank, and for the gold that we make from selling BOEs and others, we normally buy herbs or bacon. Even though we ask for 100 herbs from every raider, we actually spend about 180 per person. So, just putting that out there. As for BOEs, there shouldn't be a need for the guild to fund making them. We've got plenty of crafters and gatherers It's not that hard to go gather. If someone can't gather one or two items, I'm sure there's at least one of the officers or other guild members that would love to help out.
Yeah, we also have like crafted gear that's coming out, especially like in the next patch. We're not going to focus on making them just because. Well, maybe at first, but the thing is that they cost so much to make and then so much to upgrade as well, and it's just not worth it when there are mythic keystones that give equivalent gear or the raids that will give like near equivalent gear.
Exactly. As for the BOEs that we get in raids, they will, if it's a best in slot for somebody, uh, we will hand it out. If it's a significant upgrade, it will also be given out. Otherwise, it's usually sold on the auction house. Um, as of next patch, uh, there will be a permanent augment ruin that you are able to get from becoming exalted with the armies of the light. At that point, it will be required for everyone to either have the permanent one or use a disposable one every fight for every raid. Obviously, maybe not trash, but so just giving you a heads up, stockpile, and here's Rylus for social media and other events.
All right, peeps. So the fun part. I know the meeting was a little blathery, but I just want to let you guys know that we have a bunch of events and contests and stuff planned throughout the year, such as our World PvP, where Salvation shows Azeroth, our Might Transmog contest, where you can strut your stuff for a gold prize. We even did like the Secret Savior, White Murloc gift exchange. Everyone's exchanging silly gifts during Winter's Veil. Our ever popular Tournament of Champions, an inter-guild duel tournament, which is happening in just a few minutes. That's right after this meeting. And then, of course, the Tournament of Tiny Champions, which is the pet duels. And the current plan is to have at least one of these events a month, just so, once again, people can see each other outside of a raid setting and just get to know each other where the stakes just aren't as high and, emotions aren't just coursing through us and everything like that, and we're just chill. So just yeah, we wanna hold more events throughout the year, like so maybe like 2 per month. But the ideas that people tell us about, they just need to be a little bit more fleshed out, just to feel solid enough to turn into another event. And if players have ideas on other types, feel free to let us know about them. We'll try and stress test the idea. We'll just bounce back, you know, issues just to make it more solid, and we'll add it to the ever growing list of events. And we post about all of these different events, such as this guild meeting, with all of our different social media accounts. So we have, of course, our guild website, salvationcc.guildlaunch.com. We also have our guild Facebook, our guild Twitter, our guild YouTube. All of that stuff is those respective sites slash salvationcc. Facebook.com/salvationcc, Twitter.com/salvationcc, YouTube.com/salvationcc. And we're trying to up our presence, and we can do that with your help by tagging at Salvation CC in your posts. If you find something funny related to WoW or Legion or whatever, just go ahead and tag it. Put it on our page. Want to make sure that we're building that community there. And if someone does have some extra time, we would like a little bit of help in that regard. If maybe like a social media coordinator, we have some programs right now that help us manage all those things. But if someone has a little bit of extra time and wants to help us do that, just get in contact with us afterwards. We could really use that help. Or if anyone has some kind of like web design, we want to just update our site just a little bit. We change it for every expansion, but this one we kind of haven't just yet. So just let us know that there. But we're going to right. You can post all of the dankest memes. You can post it in our Discord, on our Facebook, on our site. On our site, if you look in the guild forum, we actually have a bunch of guild related memes. Like memes that we just, like go to like a meme creator site or whatever, and we just make memes about our own guildies from, other events in the past or being silly during raid or whatever. So yeah, we just want to thank you guys for uh, a great year. Once again, some ups and downs, but your hard work and dedication is really appreciated. Uh, just want to make sure that everybody's doing what they can, uh, individually and together as a guild to better ourselves and, of course, salvation.
Yeah, guys. We are only as strong as our weakest link, and we all must help each other and work together as a guild. For that is the bigger picture. The continued support, teamwork, and a sense of fellowship is what salvation is all about. Uh, those who are in it for themselves will only hinder their guild experience and our message.
And if anyone ever has issues with anyone or anything, whether it be raid related or otherwise, I'm always here to listen. I'm sure the other
Us
two
too.
officers are well.
We're all here. So, with that, we are gonna wrap up the meeting part of the meeting. We're at the Q&A. Does anybody have any questions about what it is that they can do to help the guild, or questions about how we do certain things? Please ask them. We're here to answer it right now. We know sometimes there's confusion with regards to certain things.
I have one question.
Sure.
I have a question from Azanoz, and he asks, "Why haven't I main tanked any progression stuff?" And I will answer that, and that's because hey, uh, we need healers, and I'm the very versatile type. I would love to tank, but I gotta do what's best for the guild and help keep the guild moving forward. And I would love to do that one day, but until we get another healer or two, that won't happen. So, anyone else got questions over there?
You have the leadership of the guild here. Ask away. All right, cool. Everybody's a pro at the salvation trivia and knowledge and everything that they need to know. So, let's get like a nice screenshot with all the guildies here. So the way we're gonna do this is we're gonna